And we are live.
Wow!
modeling school.
Models have opinions too.
Not just a pretty face.
I have thoughts. I have feelings.
Get off your phone! Hello, I am the Fat Mantis. It is the Fanboy Modeling School. I am now in HD, and I'm here with my man,
Steve, also in HD, real name, no gimmicks. Mantis, how the hell are you, man?
Yo, I am so freaking... You don't understand. I don't have any time or energy to do anything ever. The Fanboy Modeling School is literally my only time to relax.
Man, that makes me feel really good. I remember when this show, it was never hard to do, but do you remember we were like missing each other on the schedule when we were committed to that Korean app? Do you remember that show?
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
We'd become too popular.
Yeah, we became too out. We were like, I don't know if I can book a stream with you, brother. I got these holes in one thing. We're doing a sex positive stream at 2 a.m. Then I'm having breakfast with some crackhead on the. That's really how that app was, right?
Yeah, right.
That was crazy. Those are crazy times. But I'm feeling good. It's a super hectic time in my life and
Right.
jobs and all these things. But I am glad that we still have the Fanboy Modeling School. Another thing I'm glad about.
What's
is,
up?
a lot of people don't know this, but this episode is going to be essentially an all comic / entertainment one. You know, we're not going to be talking about any trans issues. We're not talking about any porn stars who bang people on YouTube. We're not talking about any of that weird stuff. It's just
Old
us
wives with failing film careers.
dragging their poor cuckold of a husband through the mud just for a little smidge of fame. None of that's going to happen because we're just going to have a good time talking about comic books and stuff.
Absolutely. I also have some good news that might be elating to you. Today was the end of my vegan fast. So I think I made it 49 days and I hit my target weight of 221 pounds. My target weight was 225. I didn't tell anyone that.
How much did you? Oh, are you willing to say how much you lost?
Yeah, 251. I was one fat piece of shit slubbering around in this basement making content for you fine people. And now I'm down to I'm a skinny bitch.
Like our man Matt. What up, Matt?
What up?
Boy, hell to the chat.
Matt had some hard things to say about Loki. Hard. I mean, like, hard.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss that, and so because I really disagree with him actually.
Let's get right into it, man. Let's get right. Before we get into that, just some house cleaning peripheral to Fanboy Modeling School. In case you don't know, Mantis and I are actually radio hosts on a company called Audiolist.com. We are two of their best. I said it.
I would say best, yeah. I think best. I think the B word is the correct word.
And I think we both have different endeavors going on now in our Audiolist paths. I just recorded my first episodes for Throwback Spin with Steve late night, which starts at 9 p.m. Monday through Friday to 12 a.m. I got to take a break in between the actual, the first show to the next show. So I did all the recording for that tonight. And that's why I look like this, Mantis. It was a lot of editing.
Oh, so you're on right now?
Oh, no, it starts tomorrow. Premieres tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I will be there.
Nice. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's very awesome. And you guys can always hit me up, the Fat Mantis, at 6 p.m. through 10 p.m. over on Audiolist, particularly Hot 95.
That's right.
We are the home for the hits. I'm bringing you the most popular music. So basically, you get to hear Taylor Swift, and then you get to hear me bitch about her between tracks. But yo,
it's easy listening.
I want to do a honorable mention, and this honorable mention is the ripping down of a false clickbaity thing that has been released on the internet. I
Let's
looked
get it.
into it, and it was bad. It was a bad faith article.
Let's get into it.
Rebec's what up?
What up, Bexy Wexy?
Fanboys. I love it when she says that. So basically, I saw the Quartering put up a thing, and he says the Black Captain America movie canceled.
Oh yeah,
And my heart sunk, and I went into that, and literally within his video, he debunks his own title.
Yes.
Because he's talking about it, and what happened is, just like all these movies, they're doing major reshoots. But that happens all the time in these movies.
Yeah.
And that's not canceling it. And you know what I mean? And I was just like, another one I saw, somebody said, Mandalorian, what's his face, is leaving the Mandalorian.
Pedro Pascal. I saw that one.
Then it turns out he's not. He just says, because of The Last of Us, I won't be in the suit, but I'm going to be voicing the character.
Right.
So it's not even.
Like, did she jump on it? Oh, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't scan her daily, although I should.
Just to you got to keep eyes on her. If more people would have kept eyes on Thanos during the Thanos quest, don't you think that whole thing could have been prevented? Like, think about it. I'm talking about the comics, man. Thanos came to Earth in a chopper, right? Some purple guy in a blue suit with gold trim. No one thought that he should be on the most watched list after that.
No, that's the whole point. He used the chopper, so they didn't think he could get an Infinity Gem.
Like, this guy's an idiot.
Yo, Matt says, "F that Taylor Swift, the bride of Satan." D, what up?
What up? Real quick. Yeah, I saw those headlines, man, and actually one of our major topics today, man. I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. Here's what's wrong with nerdom. And you and I are part of the problem, but I think we are a part of the solution as well. We try to be as objective as we can in these things. A lot of shit you click on is not the truth, man. And unfortunately, it's presented as a truth on YouTube with a question mark at the end of it, right?
Right.
MCU dead? Question mark? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then you tap in to see someone go on a crazy rant.
Right.
And there's no actual news being taught. It's just opinion.
Right. How hard is it to say my opinion? Now, I'm not going to shout this person out because I don't want to shit on them, because I'm at the point in my career where, I'm ready to sell out.
Yo, look what he said. He said, nope, you're part of the problem, Steve.
No. Matt, you are firmly in the camp. You are one bad take away from being a part of the people who took down DC, right? I jest. So hear me out on this, man. I think there is a thing that we should all expect a good quality. That is an objective standard, right? We should all expect. And if I'm going to give you $15 to go to the movies, right, I should expect a good quality product, right? Now, where is the line in your mind, Mantis, before we get to the point where we just can't even articulate anymore?
That says I'm fine with that.
It's good. I sent you your registration papers. You should get them any day now.
Yo, by the way, real quick, Matt would be really good at being canceled, because I think he would fight back really good.
I think there's two types of cancel, right? There's a type of cancel where you're publicly canceled, which garners your attention, and then there's a type of cancel when you're excommunicado and people just don't pay attention. This has nothing to do with Matt anymore, but I've seen people suffer from this on YouTube before, right? Your opinion is your opinion on stuff, but I think at a certain point, man, the YouTube community, the Snyder Cut, what was that shit called? The psychopaths, the fat fucks that wanted to be critics, and they made up a whole Star Wars movement. What is that shit called? The fandom menace. Yeah,
the fandom menace. That's right.
All those fucking virgins that try to pretend like they're tougher than they are with their neck beards, but they can't bench press more than 40 pounds in their actual body weight. That's the problem, man. Now, the MCU is culpable and DC is culpable in that, but at the end of the day, man, you clicked on a link and it said this movie was canceled when the actual truth was it's in major reshoots.
Right, and that's normal about everything. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the reshoots are because of wokeness.
I wouldn't be surprised about that. Would you be surprised to hear the Schindler List had major reshoots?
Oh no, I'm not surprised at that at all. Some great movies have really had. Back to the Future, right?
No, educate me.
So originally it was a different actor. The actor's name is Eric Stoltz. Occasionally you can actually find footage of it. They filmed 1/3 of the movie with a totally different actor, and they said this is not working. And then they went to the drawing board. They got Michael J. Fox, and that movie is legendary.
Wait, did they reference that in the Flash movie?
Oh yes, they did. Yes, they did. And Eric Stoltz in that dimension remained Marty McFly. That is so funny. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's some good meta.
But that's actually a real thing. So reshoots, we hope that they're here to help movies and stuff.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. Were you at it all? How far in the video did you make it before you realized that you had clicked on something as a grizzled veteran of the internet and been, hoodwinked?
It was like maybe 2 minutes in, but still,
that's a lot of time.
That is a lot of time. Sometimes, but here's what I'm saying. So I just got to say it like this. I know everyone's like, man, just hates wokeness, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. Everyone has a different degree of what woke is. In my opinion, Sam Wilson becoming Captain America is not a woke. That is a legitimate comic book story, a good comic book story, and I'm excited to see him take the mantle. So that's a movie I care about. So when I saw that, you get emotional and you immediately go into the video and you're not thinking.
Yeah,
that's what's so clever about it.
Filled with rage. Now I understand that. Now, at what point was any of that rage pointed at what's this guy's name again? The Quartering himself.
No. Well, at the end, when I realized I was hoodwinked, I did get it. I was like, this fucking idiot.
I experienced something like that, but it has to do with our main topic. And again, actually, fuck it. Nerd Theory, man, you're a cool guy, man. You're a family man. I actually donated to your Kickstarter for your comics. This has nothing to do with your personal character, right? It does have to do with your take on this entire thing that we're going to talk about later in our main topic, which is that how the fuck do I know if someone is a credible source, right? And how do you fucking know if they're a credible source? Well, that's all based on how many things they've gotten right. But I looked up this person I sent you, other than writing this book and this podcast they have. Who the fuck is their credible source?
Right. Oh my God, I totally agree with you. Yo, Lainey, what up, girl? I don't know why I just growled at you like a cat, but it was fun.
That was that.
And that's what kind of mood I'm in right now. Matt says there can be a little woke, just not woke overload. No one wants a lecture every time you go to and I agree with you. I absolutely agree with him. Here's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think that here's what it is. Sam Wilson is legitimate and not woke because they weren't trying to give a message. Basically, the whole concept is Captain America had been Captain America for a long time, and when it's time for him to go, it's only logical that he would give the shield to his partner and best friend, who's been in the comics and fighting the good fight, and is clearly a competent superhero.
Yeah, or if you don't want to use the dirty word, Sam Wilson is his sidekick in the comics.
Yes.
Period. Point blank.
I know. I didn't want to use
it. There's a long tradition of sidekicks, other than Robin, obviously the original Robin taking on the mantle. Well, he took on the mantle for a few issues.
That's the thing. Everybody thinks of Robin, which is the problem, because Robin gave everyone the impression that all sidekicks are 13-year-old boys who are incompetent.
Yeah, but they never look at the Nightwing run, which has. I could be biased right here, man. I think Nightwing, and I'm saying I'm biased because you and I have personally known 4 people that have worked on the Nightwing comic, and I think it's a great fucking comic. I think he's amazing.
He's amazing. But remember, Nightwing is the story. Nightwing is the story at its heart. When you look at the beginning of the origins of Nightwing, it was him leaving Batman because Batman didn't have faith in him, didn't think he was competent, and he said, "I'll be my own superhero. Fuck you."
Yeah, Batman, like any old bitter man, wasn't ready to let go of the reins, man,
or the power that he had.
Yeah, and who watches the Watchmen? I have an honorable mention that I want to get into right now, bro. So it's very similar to yours, man. I am patiently waiting to see if there's actually going to be a God of War DLC. Rumors are avast that there is going to be one, right? And I told you this privately. I am willing to give them $55 to $65 for this DLC. Problem is, every time I click on a video that says we have 100% proof that there's going to be a DLC, I watch it to about the 5-minute mark, And it's like, we're almost certain. And then I get to the 7-minute mark and it's like, and then when we look at this evidence, and I'm like, fuck, this video's 15 minutes. I'm not going to get this time back. Here's what I do know. Elden Ring, a game that I have not played, but you and I both know someone that we worked with who loves that game, is getting a DLC. And I'm not interested in the slightest.
Really? Are you not an Elden Ring guy?
I love the story of Elden Ring. I don't have the time it takes to become good at a Souls-like game. Have you played Dark Souls? Have you played?
I have played. I mean, I can't play Dark Souls. I get killed within 5 minutes every time I play. I was like, "What kind of stupid video game is this?" And then I throw my controller.
I'm actually fairly good. And then
I go play Farmville.
I'm actually good at the Souls games. The problem is, man, you've seen me play video games online. You know how many remotes I went through during the God of War gameplay? And that was 4 videos, bro.
No offense. In Jedi Survivor, when you're doing streams on YouTube, I ain't never seen someone die so many times at one boss.
That's because I listened to Berlin. I was like, I should have just started off as Jedi. He's like, no, do Master. And I'm like, fine, fuck it. And then I was like, there's a reason you don't play it Master your first go through, man.
So we know the frustration. We've all been there. The funniest one is when I was a kid, I lived in I lived on the 6th floor of an apartment building in Manhattan, New York, and I was playing Nintendo. I can't even remember what game. I think it was Legend of Zelda. And I had already tossed my controller several times. Right. And finally, I was so disgusted at what happened to me. I literally just ripped it out of the plug, walked over to the window, chucked it out the fucking window. 6 stories. Guess what happens?
What?
This is the back part of the building, so that's the back alley. It freaking hits a workman on the head. So, like 2 hours later, there's a knock on my door, and then we answer it, and it's the doorman, and it's the worker who got hurt, and they're all just standing there, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm thinking, how did they know that it was me who threw the controller?
Because they heard you screaming like a psychopath. Let's get right into it right here. DT Dub just showed up as if he was handyman, and I summoned him. He says, Steve is an amateur gamer is what he meant to say. I see that, DT. I'm calling you out, old man. Actually, I'm glad you said that. Because of the 2 of us, only one of us pre-plays games before he records it or posts it.
Who does that? That is unethical, crazy, low-life shit. Real gamers don't do that. I no, there's no way I associate with someone who would do that. No, it's gotta be fresh out the box, what is no, that's a lie. Only incels do that.
I'm going up in there, raw dog, playing the game like a red pill man.
Bellboy, welcome in, man. Much love, brother.
What up,
says, also shout out to my man Shaolin Iceboxer for even sending him love.
What up?
Okay, dumb question, says Matt. What exactly is DLC? Can you sum it up for someone who doesn't play video games? So it's downloadable content. Yeah, and so usually that's either skins like new uniforms or outfits. It could be other extra side quests or adventures. But basically, usually they make you pay for it. So it's the way they make monetize, like, have micro transactions for video games. So you pay $65 for a video game, but then later on they're like, well, do you want this extra half a level? It's another $30.
And here's the thing about it. The game that was voted one of the worst games on earth gave us all, we talked about this last week, I believe. What was it, like 6, damn near 10 to 15 gig DLCs for free? That was the Avengers game, man. It gave everyone. You got the Black Panther DLC.
Now they're going out of business. So what is wrong?
They've been out of business. And you know what they did as a parting gift before they went out of business? They should go down in history as the greatest team ever. They're like, hey, man, shit didn't work out, bro. Everything's free. From this point moving forward, any skin you were thinking about paying for is free. Don't buy. They literally said,
can you still get it?
No, you can't.
There's no way to get the game?
I mean, no, you can't.
Because I think I told you I want to get it. Like the only two characters I would ever play as are Hulk and Hawkeye.
Yeah. Well, you get Hawkeye later in the game, but he's an amazing character. Kate Bishop also has great play skills, but you know who is an amazing? Two of my favorite to play in the game is Ms. Marvel and fucking Captain America. Captain America is putting in work in this game. Actually, the worst character to play with was exclusive to Sony, and it was a Spider-Man character. Because if you played Spider-Man on Sony and you play this game, this is the worst Spider-Man game.
Oh, yeah, there's no way you can. Yeah, you got to play a Spider-Man game to really understand. Yeah, right? Because honestly, I bet you if they actually made him move like Spider-Man, he'd be OP.
Yeah, and actually, man, I was doing some gameplay for Spider-Man 2 today, and it must really suck to be one of those people that just wants to hate things because they hate things. So I got to a point in the game where I was experiencing what people were saying, oh, they should call it Flying Man, not Spider-Man. So you can use the web wings, right? It is an option. You can either use the web wings if you can get high enough where they'll be functional, because they made that very distinct in the game. If you're not high enough, you'll glide and then fucking land right on the ground. Or you can traverse as Spider-Man. Mantis, I gotta tell you honestly, man, this is good old school gameplay. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
And the
stories, you know what really I worry about? So anyone who's a fan of the Arkham series, it's one of my favorite video game series. When they finally got to Arkham Knight, they decide to be like, let's have a usable Batmobile.
Oh, yeah,
where you can go in and out of the Batmobile. Batmobile can even climb walls with grappling hooks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then almost every level, you needed to summon the Batmobile, and it wasn't Batman anymore. This was a Batmobile game, like literally.
So thus far, what I'm playing right now, man, honestly, it's mandatory in the first mission when you're fighting Sandman. Like there's a portion where you have to glide towards him because he's too far away and there's nothing to swing on. Right? What has been our biggest critique of Spider-Man in the movies and games? What the fuck is he swinging
on? Especially, you know what the funniest one is when he was on the planet Titan.
Yeah,
fighting Thanos, he is swinging, and I'm like, there are no buildings or trees on this planet, so what is he swinging?
Actually, rewatched that the other day, and that fight scene is still epic, man. Still epic. So let's get off the side topics. Yeah. I want to get right into Loki because I've been patiently waiting to hear your review of the show.
Okay, so real quick, Shaolin Iceboxer says, by the way, first, actually, DT Dubs denies everything you said. He said, this guy, man.
He hasn't denied. He's trying to figure out a way to get out of it.
Shaolin Iceboxer says, I went back and started to play Ghost of Tsushima.
Great game.
Is sublime. Absolutely beautiful. Even I played the first, level-ish of it. It's beautiful. Beautiful game. Absolutely amazing. How was the new Spider-Man game, if you got it? Says DT Dubs.
I'm enjoying. It's just really Berlin. I don't know if you upgraded to the PS5 yet. I don't think it's a streamable game in the sense where it's obviously streamable. You can stream it, have a good time, get your audience involved. If you're a Spider-Man fan, a Spider-Man game fan, I just want to sit and enjoy the game. I don't want to talk to any of you, man. I want to fucking play the game.
I'm boycotting the game because of Ugly Mary Jane. There will be no Ugbos in my games. Fuck that shit. If I'm paying for a game, they all better be supermodels.
I thought we agreed based on what the sponsors asked us for. We weren't going to talk about social issues, right?
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
NordVPN had one request. You couldn't meet that request.
We always break it in they're like, don't drink on stream and don't make fun of fat chicks. And I'm like,
Man's just hiding his bottle of wine and he's shaming a fat woman.
Shaolin says, Steve, are you finally giving Spider-Man the respect he deserves? One of the greatest comic book characters, in history.
Okay. Let's turn the camera back on here. So, it's never that I didn't give Spider-Man the respect that he deserved. I'm not going to give him the respect that this motherfucker and our friend Zeus would try to force me into this Boy Scout factor shit. This was like, the Talmud of comic books. I'm like, wait, what are you guys saying? They're like, the Boy Scout factor, Steve. Spider-Man wins me. I'm like, where is that in the comics? You show me this
written in there, man. It's
no,
written.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
You sound like a zealot right now. It's like, can you show me where it's written?
Okay, our argument was that certain characters who are Boy Scouts have more than their powers. Right. They also have an extra power called Boy Scout Factor, which gives them the edge over any other character.
Wait, what was that? Did you say your argument or what? Jack Kirby wrote or Stan Lee wrote? You said your argument, right?
From analysis of many comic books over many years.
Well, you know who you sound like right now. You sound like the Scientologists. You sound like the Mormons. From our secret studies, we've decided
It's not secret studies. Read Spider-Man has gotten out of so many issues that he shouldn't have. I'm like, it's because of the truth, of the goodness of his heart.
I can name 3 times where that shit did not help him, and they were like 3 of his biggest arcs. Didn't help him with Craven, right? Did not help him with Craven at all. And you can't say that he was resurrected because he just played dead. It definitely did not help him in Maximum Carnage. It almost, if that thing existed, it hindered him during the 90s, right? And thirdly, didn't help almost all, I would say 75% of the Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse story in the comics.
Right, but he wins at the end of the day, so he must have it.
No, that doesn't make any
Evil
sense.
never triumphs. But moving on. And D agrees with Shaolin over there, giving Spider-Man that love. So we were talking Loki.
Loki, how do you feel?
So you want to know how I feel about it?
Yes, honestly, man. I'm gonna say it was the greatest thing the MCU has done since original MCU.
I absolutely fucking agree. And so here's what it is. They have only given a few. You know what's totally crazy? I'm going to tell you about the epic. That is me and Loki. So Loki was their first major villain. Thor villain turns to the MCU. He stars as the villain for Avengers 1. Makes sense because he was their first villain in the comic books.
Yeah.
All this shit. And like, I'm liking him, but I also liked him dying. You see what I'm saying? I really liked him dying when he got killed by Thanos. And so later on, when they do a timey-wimey thing and he escapes, and they're like, we're giving him a series, I was like, this is fucking stupid. Here's what it is. We want to see our characters have like a good story, a good life, but we want to have them see a good end. Only a few characters have been granted this. In my opinion, it's like Iron Man, it's Captain America, maybe Black Widow, although I think her main story is wobbly. She needs some more epics.
It's weak. It's weak.
It's totally weak. But other than that, no other character has gotten this, right? And so I thought Loki's would have been dying at the hands of Thanos to piss off Thor. But I love that Loki goes from making him to the unlikely hero, but I like how the story goes back into his origins, his Asgardianness, all this crazy stuff. Right. And the way it totally ends, where he becomes the god of stories, it's utterly beautiful and amazing. I was blown away. I was like, this is one of the best endings for a character ever.
I'm gonna say this, man. Spoiler alert. Breaking Bad, in my mind, ended the most logical way it could for that character. I don't know if you agree with that, and you don't have to agree with it. When you watch Breaking Bad, even during the seasons which some people would deem bad or slow, when you get to the conclusion, I'm like, oh, there's no other logical conclusion for this character. So my biggest issue with Loki, the series, was I don't know what they're going to do here, right? I thought him getting strangled to death in 616 was the logical conclusion for his character. Right. It just made sense. And it was the perfect way to set off Infinity War. And let's be clear, folks, that Loki that had a brief redemption arc in Thor Ragnarok, because that's where it basically gets hammered home, because he still pulls shenanigans in Thor the Dark, Dark World, that shit's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, he pulls shenanigans in that one. When he gets strangled by Thanos, I'm like, oh shit, this motherfucker killed Loki and he killed Black fucking Heimdall, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But watching him in the series, we actually get a redemptive arc and we understand Loki, right? So before we get into the God of Stories and all that shit, I just need you to ask you, man, was there an episode you didn't like this season?
No, actually, the first season was where I had problems. Everyone said, everyone loved Loki when it came out. And I was like, it's okay. And at least toward the end, I liked it. But the first couple of episodes I thought were either okay. Like there's one where he's on an alien world, he's running around and stuff. Like I was just like, this is a mindless show. Right. However, I have to say, just the way they ended it, and I loved every episode this season. And I understand why average people don't like it, because it is a lot of like cerebral, like time travel, and time travel pisses people off. I don't know why they use it so often. But people, the average person hates time travel, right? You know this, right?
I do know this, and I want to acknowledge what Matt just said in the chat, man. I don't want a redemption arc. I want my bad guys bad, and I'm with that, Matt.
Yes.
I agree with that 100%. But
Yeah.
there are instances where if there is a redemptive arc, if it's used sparingly, it can be done well. And what I noticed from episode 1 to the final episode of Loki was a desperate, displaced variant god who was running around competing against an evil that he couldn't quantify or defeat. And this, for the camera to turn back on, is the only time that this was the actual Kang in the MCU. Let me break it down for you, Mantis. Kang in the MCU, he who will remain, is Kang from the comics. It's a guy who's just like, are we gonna do this?
Yes.
Like, you don't you understand who I am as a villain? I'm not gonna take my gloves off. There's not gonna be a knockdown, drag out fight. In fact, I always thought it was weird in the Infinity War comic that him and Doctor Doom snuck into the Magnus's temple and they fought. Right. Adam Warlock and Magnus, because that's not really Kang's bag. He's like, oh, what do you mean fight? You mean travel back, right?
Right. He always does some timey-wimey way out of stuff. I actually even think that this redeemed Kang for me, because I was hating Kang. 100%. I didn't want him to be the villain, and even here's what I'm saying: it is possible because of the events of Loki that he's done. He could be done, but I'm fine with that because I just love the ending so much.
So let's get right into it. So spoiler alerts: if you haven't seen Loki season 2, don't exit, but maybe mute us for a second. Here's what it all breaks down to, man. Kang the Conqueror, or Kang Immortus, is a mad genius. Remember, he is a descendant of Reed Richards. That's why he's extremely smart. He's Iron Lad. He's constantly stuck in his own loops, even in the comic books. But he who remains created the TVA. He created every scenario in which that you're seeing played out. But more ingeniously, they took something as confusing as timey-wimey time travel and made it very simple for the dumb kids in the back. Bad guy over here. Bad guy understand time travel. Bad guy use time travel against everyone else. Bad guy knows he can't change the outcome, so he created a loop. And I was like, fuck, man. That really is ingenious.
That is super. It was super genius. I love that. I love that he was just like, the reason why I let her stab me is I'm going to be back here. And what are you going to choose? Chaos and war or me, order, right? Like, obviously I'm better choice. You're gonna kill your girlfriend for me. I don't have to lift a finger.
Yeah, and how realistic is that? It's like, what are you gonna choose? Are you gonna choose the unknown? You don't want to know what happens.
No being wants that, like chaos and unknown shit. Yeah. So that was really genius, and damn, like the whole way it played out, man, it was like so good. And I gotta say, I actually do like Jonathan Majors. Some people made fun of his performance as Victor Timely. I liked it. I liked it. I thought he was a great addition. He, as the one who remains, he's wonderful.
Victor Timely is a great character in a sense, man. There are certain little things that an actor can do to differentiate them. I mean, no one's ever going to be, when we talk about actors playing the same, like multiple versions of themselves in the movie, no one's ever going to top Van Damme and Double Impact, right? You and I can agree that Double Impact stands at the precipice
of Van Damme movies. Of Van Damme movies, yes. It's the Shakespeare of Van Damme.
Of one guy playing multiple characters. You know what I loved most about Victor Timely? What makes me connect to someone and what they're portraying is the little things. And I love that Victor Timely referred to Loki not as Loki, but he referred to him as wizard or sorcerer. He's like, did we do it, wizard? Did we do it? And I'm just like, yo, that's fucking amazing.
It really is. It really is. I also love, and it's crazy, I'm forgetting the name of the episode. The finale, the name of the finale.
Glorious Purpose.
Yes, Glorious Purpose, which he says in Avengers 1.
And the first episode of season 1.
Right, and he says that too. And I also love in the first season of season 1 that when he's being onboarded by Mobius,
Right.
Mobius is like, "So what do you want? You want a crown? You want a throne? You think you're getting that?" He's like, "Are you kidding me? You're here to be defeated. You're not the one who will ever end up with the throne." And at the end of the thing, he ends up with the throne.
Right.
It wasn't a throne he thought he'd want, but he ultimately is. He is a king. He is a god, and he's all on the throne, and he's got his crown, man. It's pretty cool.
And we got to talk about that the Idrisil tree on the multiversal level, which is I thought was beautifully represented.
So beautifully done. The fact that they incorporated that, and I didn't see that coming. That ending.
No, I did not see that coming at all. And man, I got to tell you that slow march out when he's grabbing the vines, it makes me think about everything I know about Loki as a character. And it makes me think about Asgardians. And I'm not going to call anyone out, man, but I am going to say this. If you don't know comics, man, that's okay. If you're a YouTube commentator and you know the MCU, and maybe that's where your show became popular from, just say, hey, I'm not that well invested. But you know why I love Rob from Comics Explained? He knows comics, man. And he doesn't do things. He doesn't do things to make popular media match the comics, man. And I heard some bad takes, even to the point where someone completely got the Infinity Gauntlet wrong. Like they just got a very important part of the Infinity Gauntlet comic wrong, and I was just like, okay, I stopped the video.
And so I think Matt said it too. He said Matt said it when he said, he's like, look at these guys. He's like, I can read I can read Wikipedia too. And that's the thing. And she who shall not be named,
right?
Our most hated enemy over there. She constantly gets things wrong. If you hear her talk about video games, she's just wrong all the fucking time. Talk about Star Wars, she does not know what she's talking about. And you know what it is? She skimmed a Wikipedia article.
100%. And look, you want to look shit up on Comixology, you want to look shit up on Marvel's Unlimited, I need to do that shit sometimes too. I consult the Google machine, but at a certain point you either read it and you went back and reread it, bro. You were there, like you weren't there, but I told you when I was going back to read the Infinity Gauntlet saga before, we got into like Infinity Wars. I was like, I feel like I need to read this because it's named Infinity Wars. And this is when it was Infinity's War 1 and Infinity Wars 2. And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? But I just want to, let me dial it back for a second. So Owen Wilson, amazing.
Absolutely amazing. So he's so charismatic as that funny Mobius.
Bro, this is what I want to remember him as, man, because it's like Owen Wilson at his best, man, because he's always been such a better actor than just the comedic characters he's played. And he's done those extremely well, man. And he's done the comedy in this show extremely well. But there's so many scenes from the Loki series where I'm just like, man, Owen Wilson has chops, man. Right before he gets pruned in season 1, when he's talking about what he wants. I didn't cry, but I cried inside. I was just like, fuck. Yeah. They're gonna kill this motherfucker. Like, I didn't want to care about this character, but they're gonna kill this motherfucker, and I was invested in him.
And you know what's crazy? By the end of season 2, I thought they were all jokers. By the end of season 2, I liked all of them. I liked the chick, I don't even know her name, the black security head of security.
Oh, yeah.
The only one that I don't think lived up to her expectation was Renslayer. She didn't do anything this season. She's just, and then so if this is the end of that whole story, that was wasted airtime right there.
I disagree with you, right? And here's why. I don't really have a leg to stand on in that argument in regards to the importance of Renslayer, because whenever she comes up in the comics, she's so unimportant that they change it every chance they get in the comics. Renslayer died, and then there was another version of Renslayer. I'm surmising many moons of Kang origin.
Yeah, she's Kang's girl.
Yeah,
and yeah, she's not a very interesting part of the game. I mean, I agree with you. Kang is just not great.
Who said it? Now we said it. Who said it? Steve was right. I was like, Kang is the big bad of this shit. I'm like, why is Kang the big bad? I hate this character, man. I only care now that all you feminist fucks want to remove Kang. If he turns out to be innocent, this is the only social commentary I have. I believe they're still going to remove him.
So here's the problem. Yeah, you know why? You know what the problem is? And Matt says B15. See, Matt was paying better attention than I was. So here's the problem. You know why he's going to get removed even if he isn't? Because if you've ever spoken to these women, and their idea about it is that even if you're proven innocent, you're still guilty in some way. And they usually think you're just found innocent and you're not really innocent. So all it takes is the idea that you're a woman hater or hitter or whatever. And they will never give you innocent credit. They will never say it. Even if a court of law proves he didn't do anything, they will look at him and say, well, he looks like a dirty pig.
Yeah, I heard a very, very popular social commentator say on this, and we can move away from the politics after this, that the reason he will continue to believe victims, right? And he was referring to the Lizzo and Jonathan Majors situation. This is not conjecture. This is literally what he said, is because they're famous, and even if they're proven innocent, they can recover from being assumed to be guilty. But the victims will never recover from it. I was like, just think about what you just said right there. Because they're famous, right? We can all shit on them up until the point
because they'll shrug it off.
Essentially. And I was just like, I hit the unsubscribe button.
Yo, who was it?
Public friend actually put me onto this guy, and I actually watch him a lot. I don't know if you know this about me. I watch videos of people that I don't agree with.
Oh God!
I watch their videos.
Okay, so I don't have to hear who it is then.
And like, man, this guy has some interesting thoughts on regards to other topics that have nothing to do with the MCU. But in this instance, I was like, you're 100% wrong. You cannot just say I'm siding with the victim, and whatever happens to the other person or whatever consequences that they experience until they're proven innocent are acceptable because they have the social capital.
I'm saying it's this socialist shit, you know, where they're spending other people's money, they're spending other people's clout. They're like, oh, it's all right. Rich people don't have feelings. Let's take their money. Let's take their property. Fuck that shit. That's the whole problem with activists nowadays. I'm on a political rant. You motherfuckers don't act like you're self-righteous, but you're not self-righteous. You're a hungry group of cannibalistic animals who would slit each other's throats for a fucking nickel.
Also, I want to say before I say the person's name, man, and this is no shot at that brother, man, I want to quote you correctly, and I would always be willing to come on your much larger platform to discuss this. But the standard that a lot of you people have, you people being the activists in certain communities of which I am a part of, you would exclude some of our greatest figures, right? So Martin Luther King out for infidelity, right?
Right.
Publicly cheated on his wife. Well, not publicly, but it's a public, it's known. Malcolm X, who had a very checkered past before his redemptive arc, who never cheated on his wife, by the way, he's out, right? There are allegations that Malcolm X was he's
a PIMP.
Yeah. But you have no problem doing that shit. The guy's name is FD Signifier, man, and he is a very extremely talented, very intelligent brother.
I know that cat. Yes, I've watched some of his videos before. He puts on some very good points about shit sometimes.
Yes, man. His breakdown on hip hop and a lot of issues, but on this one issue, he and I greatly differed. Now, the only reason I hit the unsubscribe button was I'm not the type of guy to go up in the comment section and have these conversations with people, not because I can't hold my own. I can argue with motherfuckers all day long.
We know.
But I was just like, this is just a shorts channel. This was a bad take, but I don't want to deal. That's a moral high point. That's a moral point of standard for me. But moving back to Loki. So I want to talk to you about this, right? So the entire season 2 is about him dealing with the Ouroboros loop that he's in. Now, here we have to deal with the commentary from YouTube. It didn't quite get to the Mephisto level, but the fucking predictions. See, you're coming in late, so you got to enjoy it clean.
Yeah,
I had to deal with this shit week by week, and every prediction I was like, that doesn't fucking make sense. Write it down on a piece of paper, read it back to yourself. Why would that make sense? And large creators are like, I think this is conclusive proof that This is happening. I'm like, what conclusive proof, motherfucker? You don't know what's going to happen in episode 3. There's nothing conclusive about it. And the closest they got was either they're steering Loki to become Loki Avenger Prime, which is something that happened in the comics or is still happening in the comics, or Loki God of Stories, which was a part of the Loki Agent of Asgard arc, right? So, and it's just that almost ruined it for me, but I was not disappointed with the show. Watching Loki go to the point where he got the power to time slip, which is another point of contention for people. They're like, how come he has this crazy ability? I'm like, he's an Asgardian. And this is Marvel for the first time, the MCU acknowledging that these aren't just higher planes of aliens. They are literal gods.
And that was a huge mistake in the original Thor when he implies that he's just like, oh, we're just aliens and magic is this science you haven't figured out yet. I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. When his father curses the hammer, he literally takes the hammer, and then he says, he speaks to it. He's just like, only he who is worthy can have it, and throws it. That is magic. There is no science for that. That is not a formula, bro.
Yeah, and you know what? I blame this slightly on the inception of the Ultimates, right? But they had a kind of idea of what they were doing. Do you remember when Thor was introduced in the Ultimates?
I like real Thor. I like Thor that transforms. I don't like party board Thor from Ultimates.
You don't like hippie, socially conscious Thor.
He has a cult that worships the earth and following around. He's Thor all the time. Nah, man. The fun thing is Dr. Donald Blake with his limp. And then he freaking has to hammer it on the ground and becomes Thor. That's Thor.
Yeah, and this is what I really enjoyed about Loki this season, man, is that it gets to a certain point, and again, it really does hammer home, that Kang is kind of a force to be reckoned with. Do you mind if I go there? So Kang basically set Loki on the path to get his powers, and I think they're still kind of in a loop where it's like, Kang set him on the path to get the powers. Maybe they're going to write in like Kang did this because he knew this was the only way to defeat his variants, was introducing a part of the equation that they wouldn't be able to understand themselves. But I enjoyed the fact that Loki getting his powers makes sense, man. Like,
I mean, it's amazing, man. It's really amazing.
What did you think about the noodle food? What did you think about Victor Timely getting turned into pasta, cosmic space pasta?
Oh yeah, no, I was, I loved it. I love the pasta. I mean, he came back later, into that whole thing. I liked his whole shtick. I love the part where Loki keeps reliving it and trying to fix it. And I love where he like takes him and he's like, don't place the device on the catwalk because it will roll off. and then right before he goes out there, he runs off and he fastens his helmet because he knows he's seen futures where like he didn't have his helmet fastened. I loved it. It was really good. It was fun. It was fun to experience, and that's what we need. We just need fucking fun. We don't need to be preached to. We just need fun, and I was having fun with all these shenanigans. Even when it was deep, like, obviously, it's weird that he loves his doppelganger. That's the reason it all happens.
So yeah.
And, obviously, this is a metaphor for him. He loves himself so much, right?
Right.
The problem is one of the problem which I'm willing to forget. I just don't think of her as his doppelganger. But like the whole thing is, she's not his doppelganger. She is nothing like him.
Yeah, she's a variant. When they came up with that word, she's the perfect example of that, right? Like,
where she's just totally different. She's not like him in any way. Right. I kind of wish they had cast a woman who is just like him.
Yeah, I wouldn't have mind. It's little things in the detail, right? So when Loki became a woman, people always fucking forget this, man. When he became a woman, he took over the body of Lady Sif.
Yeah, Sif.
Yeah, so I would have been okay. Like if they would have done that, that's fine. But Sylvie's the bartender, Loki. So okay, we're good. Doesn't she look like a hipster bartender, bro? You're just like, I said I wanted a beer, not the drink you brought me.
Matt says, "What theories were you talking about, Steve?"
Okay, so there were a bunch of prevailing theories that people had going into this, man, and the primary ones were he was either going to become Loki, God of Stories, which even
people saw that coming.
Yeah, people saw that coming. Which technically he does become Loki, God of Stories.
Yeah, he does become God of Stories, but like That
But
was
Rob, being the super nerd that he is, actually pushed the glasses up. And I love this about you, Rob. He's like, actually, he's not the god of stories. He's the custodian of the multiverse. And then provided the facts. I'm like, oh fuck, there is a character that does the exact same thing in Marvel.
but you know what they were going for. That same imagery of the God of Stories.
And the other theory was, in fact, that he was going to become Avenger Prime and that he was going to assemble. Now it gets deep here. That he was going to become Avenger Prime, and just like in the comics, Avenger Prime, he assembles the multiversal Avengers. And here we go. It's going to lead us into another topic where they have to deal with the League of Dooms, or not the Legion of Dooms, or the vast variants of Doom. Because right now in Marvel, there's an arc going on where there's a Doom above all. Are you up to speed on this?
Oh, I didn't know this one.
All right, so there's a Doom above all, and this is the worst version of Doom, and it's actually pretty cool. Like, it's Doom, but times 20. So if you didn't know this about Dr. Doom in the main line 616, his armor was made from the love of his life. Very dark and bleak shit.
Right.
This
whole
Doom,
story from being a child and all this shit is all just...
It's horrible. It's horrible. The Doom above Doom, not only is his armor made from the love of his life, but it has a pink hue to it to represent that skin in some mystical way. And this Doom goes around either recruiting other Dooms or enslaving other Dooms. So before all the fanboys come for me, I'm going to acknowledge the things that happen in the comics. When he comes across a Doom in one of the comics, he tortures the Doom, pulls the Doom's tongue out so it can be a subservient Doom. So there seems to be varying level of Dooms. And this is all coming off the hinge of like Jonathan Hickman's, the Council of Reeds. Like there's a whole Council of Reeds out there doing fuckery like Reed does. And one of the things they decided was that they had to lobotomize all the Dooms. And then when Doom from 616 came in, those lobotomized.
Okay,
Dooms,
I forgot how much I hate modern comics. Let's not go any further. I'm done. I already threw up in my mouth.
It's fucking it's the shit. Who do you think
it's not the shit. It sounds like it's
at any rate, since Mantis is now a thespian, and listen, that was the major theory, that Loki was going to become Avenger Prime and he was going to assemble the multiversal Avengers, and then they were going to fight Kang in Secret Wars. And this is long before the Vanity Fair article came out. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, because if they do that, then it makes no sense that they did it in What If. The multiversal Avengers have already been assembled, and it was in the episode.
I honestly think people are trying to force that whole Loki being the Avenger Prime thing on there. I don't think there's any hint of that at all. But yeah, let's go back to one of Matt Cat's comments earlier, because we were about to, you brought it up. But he says, can anyone explain to me the hit piece where it said Marvel was fucked with the season finale because of the Kang thing? And so
in actuality, so no one knows what's true, but I'm just going to give you some of what's been reported on. It wasn't that they were fucked. It was just that one of the writers, the head writer, wrote a different episode for episode 5. Like completely different. And then he brought it to the Marvel Brain Trust, and they were like, no, that shit makes no sense. That's convoluted. Whatever it was, whatever they said to him. And he was okay with it as a creative, where he went back and rewrote episode 5 in a weekend and then represented it. And then they moved from there. And from there, he acknowledged in an interview that other writers on the show were like, hey, sorry that happened to you. That was my favorite episode. So whatever he wrote was going to be either extremely risky to the point where it wasn't going to land with the audience, and it was too much of a stretch for Marvel to be like, hey, no. And then he went back and rewrote episode 5, which I still think is an amazing episode. And he's pulled a lot from it. There is no evidence that they rewrote the show. And this is where the internet annoys me, to prepare to write out Jonathan Majors. Now, is there a possibility that that's on the table? Well, they've set themselves up perfectly if they need to write out Kang. But from what's been reported from the horse's mouth, all it was, hey, I presented something that was really beyond what they wanted to put on the screen, and they made me rewrite it.
Right, and that's totally within the right. And trust me, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's executives are always right when they interject. Don't get me wrong, but they do have a brand to defend,
Right.
and so ultimately, I'm probably defending it simply because I like the outcome. And so these writers, you know how
Right.
writers are.
Right. Right. Right.
They're like, yo, like it's Avengers 2, and they're like, we should kill Captain America. And they're like, wouldn't that be cool? And they're like, it would be cool. We're not gonna fucking do it, but it would be cool.
That was a shot at me. I stand by what I said. The original concept for Endgame was Captain America got decapitated by fucking Thanos.
It would have been so lame. It would have been so stupid. It would have been so
amazing. It would have been amazing. He throws his head at Black Panther, and then Black Panther, and his blackness is like, woke Avengers assemble.
Matt says they told him put a woman in it and make her gay. Straight off the South Park, right? Put a woman in it and make her gay.
Yeah, and so that's what's going on there, man. The Vanity Fair article, man, is more conjecture, but
here's what a lot of articles are saying, and what it is like what's so funny is these are the same publications that will diss Jonathan Majors, completely insult Jonathan Majors, think that like they're like basically saying like he's a assaulter, we can't have him on the set. And then later on, when the end of Loki, because it really does look, they could theoretically,
they could be done
never mess with Kang again after a Loki, and it works in the story wise. However, the same publications that were crucifying Jonathan Majors are saying that they're like, this was a mistake because this episode destroys Jonathan Majors and Kang's thing. I'm like, make up your mind.
All right,
do you like him or not? And I think they just want to complain about Marvel.
Yeah, well, there's that, because everyone that's a content creator, whether you be a writer in a traditional sense, whether you be a part of what's called the mainstream media, or you're a part of new media, which we are firmly planted in, we're all chasing stories, right? And on a slow week, we have to look and see what stories could possibly be. That's what it boils down to, bro. In my opinion, here's the thing, man. Now, as a fan, I don't think Kang deserved an entire MCU rollout arc. Picture this, if you will, Mantis. What if Kang was just the villain of the Loki series? Would that not have just hit the same way?
That would have been fine.
He would have just been Kang and Loki, right? Maybe we got Kang fucking around with a lesser character.
Here's one thing that is wrong about the whole the Kang rollout, though. And this is their problem because they can't get Fantastic Four moving. To not have Fantastic Four cross their path, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't disagree with that at all.
It's like having Apocalypse in the MCU, but never facing an X-Men. Right?
Or having him in an X-Men movie. Never mind. Never mind. It's the same problem that they have with Blade, right? Fantastic Four and Blade. Well, Fantastic Four more. They are the first family of the Marvel comics. We can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Here's why I agree with you, scooper motherfuckers. They should have been in Ant-Man. In fact, the Quantum movie should have been not about Ant-Man facing Kang, but Ant-Man going into the quantum realm. We're finding out what Janet Van Dyne was doing down there. Get Bill Murray out of there, right? And it's just about that. More Ant-Man shenanigans. But the post-credit could have been, or in the actual fucking story, they find a lost team that did some type of traveling, and it's fucking Reed Richards. And then we go right into Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or here's another thing, bro. They could have just made Wanda. I think they should have had 1 to 2 or maybe even 3 big bads in this phase. It could have been Kang and Loki, Wanda and Doctor Strange, and whoever the fuck in Ant-Man. But it should not be solely based on Kang. You can't associate the word Secret Wars with Kang.
No, you can't. It has to be Doom. And so here's what I'm saying. I think everyone assumed that Kang was going to be Secret Wars. But the real question is, I assume that they're not going to have him for 2 movies. That would be crazy. But okay, so that it's unlikely he'll be Secret Wars. There's a rumor that the Kang Dynasty, Avengers 5, isn't going to happen. You think that's true?
Do I think that's true? Here's what I think. No, I don't think that's true, right? I don't think it's true based off of like the level of investment. Could they could they change it at any point? Yeah, we saw DC scrap the Batgirl movie or Bat whatever.
Right.
Should it have ever happened? Kang Dynasty should not be a thing, and I've been saying this from the beginning. It shouldn't be a thing, man. It should not have been the direction they were going in. Period. Kang should have never been the big bad for this. If you wanted Jonathan Majors in there, if you wanted a thespian in there, you could have picked so many different characters. In fact, let me just blow your fucking mind right now, bro. Jonathan Majors could have been Blade.
Oh my god! I never even thought that. What? Oh my god! He would be such a good Blade.
Like, and if you're worried about Jonathan Majors being constrained by the character of Blade, Jonathan Majors is the type of actor who basically played Mr. T's character in Creed 3.
Yes.
But made him better.
Yeah, no, he's a great actor. I fucking love that dude. He would be a great Blade.
Could have been Blade.
Missed opportunities right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Did I say Blade? Is that too low brow for you fucking mouth breathers? Not you fine people in the audience. Jonathan Majors could have been Blue Marvel, and he could have been introduced in that one episode where we thought Blue Marvel was going to be introduced in WandaVision.
Here's what I agree with you. You know what's interesting? I honestly do think that like if they went with fan theories, even though it would be predictable because you've seen it on the internet, it would still ultimately be better MCU than what they've given us in Phase 4.
Which proves me right yet again.
If we had the Blue Marvel being the technician who makes that vehicle and he shows up and he's just like, hey guys, blow our fucking minds, right? If Mephisto was the villain at the end, blow our fucking minds.
No, it wouldn't have blown my mind if he was in fucking WandaVision, but I agree with you on the Blue Marvel.
You wouldn't love seeing fucking Mephisto?
I fucking hate Mephisto. Why do we all have selective memory when it comes to this character? He is one of the worst characters that's ever existed. He's got pointy boots on.
He doesn't have to. Well, obviously they change the outfits. But like I'm saying, like he doesn't have to be the big bad, but he should have been Wanda's big bad, like her personal big bad.
Or how about her actual big bad, the demon that gave her powers?
Oh, whatever. No, it's Mephisto, man. Because here's what I'm saying. WandaVision, although it's about it's about a lot of things, but it's primarily about the fact that she created illusionary children, and Mephisto is behind all of that.
Well, yeah. So it technically wasn't Mephisto in the comics. It was some other motherfucker, and he turned those motherfuckers into hand puppets on the cover, didn't he?
Right, but later on, it turns out to be a scheme from Mephisto. It's just, they did retcon it in, like it's just like you didn't know this whole time it was Mephisto. But comics do that all the time. You know what I mean?
Okay. I got you. But we're speaking the same language here, man. We're speaking the same language. Jonathan Majors could have been used for something vastly different.
So much more.
But let me ask you this question, man. So you're watching Loki season 2, right? You get to episode 6. You realize that Loki's stuck in a Bill Murray groundhog situation, but he's an Asgardian, and it explains why after centuries, literally, it says at one point, centuries later.
Yeah, he literally has the patience to redo the day for fucking centuries.
He's working with Ouroboros to learn what he learns. You know why that guy, what's the guy's name that plays Loki, man? He's an amazing actor.
Oh, Tom Hiddleston. He dated Taylor Swift back in the day.
No wonder he looks so old.
People used to bust jokes because he was older than her.
Yeah, when they couldn't fucking stop the loom from exploding, right? And this is how great of an actor he is. It's all in you went to LaGuardia. It's all in the small natural gestures. Fucking Victor Timely is explaining you can't scale for infinity, but right before he says that, Loki puts his hand over his face and he's like, "You're right. This is why the shit won't work." And then he goes into the Sylvie Kang who remains type shit, man. I just got to tell you this, man. It hit me right before we got to the end of the episode, which I want to talk to you about. He is the last original cast member, isn't he?
Yes. And, and what I'm saying is, if this is his send-off, it's an amazing send-off. And so, actually, there is still one that I think they were gonna just write out and never give him an ending. But like
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, but we hate movie Hawkeye.
You
He's
hate movie Hawkeye.
you like movie Hawkeye? Wait, say that. Say that. Say that with your fucking camera on, so we know.
Listen, tiaras are not a big part of my comic experience, and I understand that it's important to you, and I validate your feelings. Jeremy Stevens, I think, played a good ultimate version of Hawkeye, which is what they based him off of, clearly.
Did you like movie Hawkeye or not? Say it. Say your feelings.
Yeah, he didn't bother me.
Oh my god, you're fucking it. So yo, we have been on Loki for quite some time.
Let's move on.
Because I want to talk about
last thing.
Last
him walking up the stairs, pulling the fucking vines. You telling me that's not the most beautiful shit you've seen?
It's the most beautiful shit. You know what I also love? He became the opposite of what He Who Remains is.
Yeah.
He Who Remains sits on a throne, maintaining one timeline. However, Loki decided to live in solitude on a throne with all the timelines, a shitload of them just growing out of him.
It's a beautiful send-off.
It was beautiful. I love how it panned out. And then you see it's a tree, and I'm like, oh my god, it's the Yggdrasil tree.
Yeah, I don't think there's much there for us to look at, man. A lot of people are already theory crafting off of that, but they could be right. Also, I enjoyed Owen Wilson's send-off, where he's just like, he's still a variant, man. He went back to the timeline, the thing that everyone, and don't let your friends press you into some therapeutic process. He went back to the timeline to watch himself raising his sons that he never had. There you go. It was fucking beautiful. It was fucking beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. And by the way, we didn't even touch on him, but Ke Huy Quan, the guy who was short round in Indiana Jones, who played Ouroboros, friggin' great.
Killed it.
Absolutely killed it.
He's absolutely amazing in it, man. And I forget her name, Hunter, and it's not for any reason before anyone gets, but the black woman who was a hunter, she was great in it. Oh man. What'd you think about that death where they killed all those fucking TVA agents by squishing them in that fucking cube?
Oh my god, that was awesome. Like, I just think I like every episode, basically. I feel like there's always something cool going on.
See, and this is the problem, man. And this is Marvel's fault. You were a diehard fan of the MCU. You didn't watch because you're like, I don't know what I'm getting into. Who knows what blue-haired nonsense they're gonna bring? But it turned out it was the best shit they've ever released, man. It literally is. But continue.
Yeah, no, it's really great. Now let's talk for just a quick second.
Oh god.
Oh wait, real quick. I'm sorry, and this has nothing to do with anything. Our listeners are gonna hate me bringing this up. So remember the Hispanic guy who's an engineer, but like he's like a weird engineer.
Oh yeah.
So who he was in real life?
Oh yeah,
is a real person.
Yeah.
And so what it is they don't want to believe, they don't want to say that anyone escaped Alcatraz. But there's actually 3 guys who escaped on a raft and were never seen again, and nobody knows where they went.
So
that was from that.
I thought that was amazing, man. I thought them being placed. We can do a whole episode on the time variance shit. The only thing that didn't work for me in that shit was what was the logical reason to pull Casey's character, right? So just you see how you assumed that they made it off. So the divergent, the split there was that he didn't. These are the characters that made it off. So they pruned an entire universe for that shit.
Well, obviously the original TVA was ruthless animals. Like if you think about it, they're like someone's just like a baby. I don't know. A baby jumps 3 feet in the air as opposed to a half a foot, and they're like, kill them all.
Wait, so we got a little bit of Mobius's background, and this is feeding the whole Doom thing. Did you catch Mobius talking to Loki in the last episode where Loki jumps back to his first encounter with Mobius, and Mobius gives him his backstory, and he's like, there was a kid in Eastern Europe,
right,
very important, that was slated to kill 3,000 people. So some internet sleuths have looked at what
they think that's Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
I need more evidence. I need more evidence. This sounds like YouTube fuckery.
But that's the problem, when they're making their thumbnails, I'm like, does this not sound like fuckery? Shout out to Screen Rant, man. Yo, that guy and that damn dog, he will say, this is what I think is happening. But other motherfuckers will literally make an entire fucking thumbnail and playlist off that one shit, man. You know who I'm talking about. You know who you are. Let's move on. So you were going to talk about what exactly?
Well, I also want to talk about, we were talking about things that were working for Marvel. Let's talk about things that aren't working for Marvel right now.
The
AKA the Marvels.
So I took my 8-year-old son to go see this. We have a bonding experience where obviously he's not weighed down by all the shit that we are as dead adults. He wants to go see a movie with his dad, and we go see Marvel movies with each other. We'll go see a Marvel movie. He wanted to see the Friday night Freddy movie, but we just didn't go see it. So I was like, hey, do you want to see this movie? And he's like, yeah, I want to see it. I'm like, do you want to see the movie, or do you just want to spend time with dad? And he's like, no, I want to see the movie and I want to spend time with you. I'm like, all right. You can spend time with me here or any place of your choosing.
Oh, you trying to talk him out of going to Marvel? Look at you.
I'm like, do you want to go see this movie? He's like, yeah, I want to go see this movie. I'm like, even if I bought you popcorn that wasn't associated with this movie, he's like, yes, I want to see it. So I take him to see it. The movie is not as advertised, right? I talked to you the day before we went to go see the movie. And I asked you a simple question. I'm like, is the main antagonist some person from some alternate universe that is associated with Thanos? Because that would have been fucking cool. But that's not what happened. I was hoping it was something like that. But that's not what happened. It's just some bitch from the Kree world after Miss Marvel.
Yeah, nothing special about her. She's not special in any way.
She's not even really an accuser. And fucking
right,
like,
she's not even. Basically, people are calling her Lone and Light.
Yeah, Ronan
Light. Yeah, because she's not even as good as him.
I can sum this whole topic up really quickly, man. Kamala Khan was cool in this movie, right? Like her character was very tolerable in this movie. Monica Rambeau also very tolerable in this movie. Nick Fury, off the heels of Secret Invasion, very tolerable. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, not that bad. But when you push all those things together in a movie that basically doesn't make sense or have any impact or any consequences or anything to do with anything that's happened before, even though they have plot threads connected to them, Mantis, I sat through the entire movie and I daydreamed during the entire movie.
So here's the thing. I watched it in a situation where I was home and the quality wasn't so good, if you feel me. And I hated it. And I'm thinking maybe if I saw it in theaters it would be amazing. I don't know. Like
no, bro. There's more skull bullshit, right? Because the Skrulls were never supposed to be characters we relate to.
Yeah, they've been having way too much Skrull action going on, and
really ties into Secret Invasion. Basically, what you get is a very rushed story that feels like it was written over a weekend of how Monica Rambeau and Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel were related to each other, and then ultimately it ends and it's like, hey, you get Blue Beast. I'll be right back.
Okay. So guys, I want to go over something real quick, and this is gonna be the no-brainer of it, and you're gonna see why the mistakes they made. So according to, and I actually agree with this list, Comic Book Rant, they made top 10 Captain Marvel villains. Okay, so at number 10 we have Titanus, who basically is a Skrull who was granted invulnerability, super strength, and he's big and hulking like the Hulk. Right? Next we have Nitro, an evil scumbag monster whose power is he can blow himself up, even to a nuclear level, and then he restructures himself. Number 8 is the Brood. These are aliens. They're basically rip-offs of xenomorphs from the movies, but yeah, they're a Captain Marvel villain. Next, we have Ronan the Accuser. We've seen him. Okay, that's good. Next is Deathbird, the supposed ruler of the Shi'ar galaxy. She's often seen in X-Men comics a lot. Next, we have Moonstone. You know, she is on The Thunderbolts. She's a pretty bad girl. Supreme Intelligence. We got a watered down version of it in number 1. Number 3 is Rogue from the X-Men. Number 2 is Yon-Rogg. We saw him. He was Jude Law's characters in the first one. Number 1 is Mystique, head of the Brotherhood of Mutant Supremacy. And so what I've just listed is what comic book aficionados consider the top 10 villains of Captain Marvel. Why did I read this list to you guys?
Because the bitch with the gold teeth in the movie was not one of those.
She's not on that list. She's nowhere to be fucking found.
Wait, did you mention my man that's basically just a Chad with blonde hair that has super cosmic powers? What's this guy's name? I always forget his fucking name.
Who's the Chad?
Oh, fucking, it's like, what is this fucking guy's name? He's literally a white guy that has supreme cosmic power in Marvel Comics, and he fucks Captain Marvel up every time they go against each other. I'll find it. Continue.
But my point is that, like, for starters, superhero movies are only as good as the villain that they put them against. And so who is this chick? There's no gimmick to her, and there's nothing cool. She's a bitch with a hammer. We've already seen bitches with hammers. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you kidding? They literally didn't even try. It's like they weren't even reading Captain Marvel comic books.
Right.
And so my theory, remember this was years ago, that my theory was that at the end of the reason why they were doing the Marvels was that at the end of the Marvels, Rogue would appear.
Okay.
And she would drain her of all her powers.
That would have been amazing.
And so that way Monica Rambeau would take over being Captain Marvel at the end of the movie. And then we have like a comatose Brie Larson, but she'd end up coming back, and she'd actually do her comic origin. But they decided to completely ignore such a fucking great opportunity to do whatever the fuck this was.
Yeah, I can't find this fucking guy. Yeah, no, I agree with that, man. The movie itself, man, it's not as bad as Love and Thunder. Like, I just want to say that right there. So right now, it stands for me in my mind. Love and Thunder. This movie, Thor, Dark World, and Eternals. That is the order of the bad movie. Oh, I'm sorry. And then Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Also Iron Man 2. Yeah, I agree with you. Those are all...
No. It's not Hyperion. I forget this guy's name, and he's literally a Captain Marvel villain. He made an appearance on the actual Avengers animated series, and he's quite literally a white guy in pants, and he's fucking shit up. He
just wears pants and nothing else?
Yeah. I forget. If you don't say it, it's like when where are your keys and you keep asking the person.
We have all this useless comic knowledge in our heads. But like the whole thing is like I can't even give a review.
Here's the thing. And they scaled her powers down too, Mantis, for no apparent reason. So because this bitch with the gold teeth has fucking that bangle on, she can absorb energy powers. And so Captain Marvel is rendered completely useless. But we're not talking about fucking absorbing man here. We're not talking about one of those characters that Marvel throws out in the comics like he can absorb kinetic energy like Sebastian Shaw and some shit. Like even her physical punches. She punched Thanos and hurt this motherfucker. Right. She punches this chick and it's totally fine. And her grand plan, the villain, by the way, spoiler alert, was the same exact plan from Spaceballs.
Yeah, I know, but people point that here's a problem that I have with these kind of stories.
John Korvac. That's his name.
Oh, Korvac. Yes. Korvac. He's an Avengers like villain. Like he's
this
really
motherfucker was a psychopath.
Yeah, that guy's a total psychopath. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if like they eventually make him an Avengers movie villain.
I heard rumors that he was supposed to be the villain, but they wanted representation.
Of course they wanted representation. And so Dar-Ben, whoever the fuck that is who we got.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what, like, basically here's what I'm saying. When this movie was first announced, within like a month or two of it being announced, I was like, at first I was excited, and then I was like, that's gonna be a train wreck.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a horrible movie.
No one asked for this movie. No one asked.
Other movies that I predicted were train wrecks would be the Eternals.
Yeah, you did predict that. Beautifully shot. Watched it the other day. Still beautifully shot.
I agree. There's even beautifully shot movies can suck major dick.
That little girl with the red balloon. That was fucking beautifully
But
shot.
why here's what I don't understand is how am I, someone who doesn't work in the industry, able to predict what movies are gonna suck? And they don't. Like Kevin Feige's just like
Social, but here's the brain trust, right? The brain trust. Does Kevin Feige, did he believe that these movies are going to succeed? We don't know. Maybe he did.
oh, you think he was forced to make them?
Well, if we're going to believe the narrative that's being pushed, Bob Iger was like, Kevin, you do whatever you want. And then the other Bob came and he was like, hey, so what do you think about trans spider people? Yeah, here's the deal, man. This movie should have been on Disney Plus as an 8-part episode.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. This should be season 2 of Miss Marvel.
And Falcon and the Winter Soldier should have been a movie. Like it should have been a movie, or like it's 100.
I agree. Yo, I don't know. They just don't know what the fuck they're doing. I'll give you an example. Did you see Miss Marvel?
What? No, I haven't watched it. I've not watched it.
Okay, so here is the most obvious fucking things that they should have done. Right?
Right.
Before you know anything about it. They should have had Captain Marvel meet her and show up in either episode 1 or 2.
Perfect.
They should talk or whatever.
Right.
At some point in this series, she should have a fun, friendly, lovable, fan favorite character come and hang out with her and maybe do one episode with her, like Spider-Man. They could have a Spider-Man.
Perfect. I love it.
And then at the end of it all, Captain Marvel should come down and be like, I bless you, you can be Miss Marvel.
I love
Honestly,
it. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to air it. There are no black lesbians in it.
Right, that's right. Like, put a woman in there and make her gay. So, but here's the thing: those 2 appearances would have completely saved that show.
Right. Okay, I can dig it.
And it's such a simple formula. It's so easy. And what I'm really describing is what you pretty much see anytime there's a new hero. They have a limited series in comic books. That's how it is. Like Spider-Man will show up or something, say hi or something.
It's the formula. When you introduce a new fighter or a new villain in X-Men comics, who do they have to kill?
They have to fight Wolverine.
They have to beat the shit out of Wolverine.
Yeah.
So actually, I agree with you. I think that Miss Marvel should have been in Spider-Man, not No Way Home, Far From Home.
Yes. That's another thing. Actually, you're right. I think I've said that before in the past. You're right. She should have originally, instead of being in her own show, had a cameo in something like Spider-Man. Yeah. And then they'll be like, if you want to know where she got her powers and who she is, we got a limited series for you. This is very simple. This is super simple. And why Kevin Feige and stuff does not understand this is totally insane. It's totally deranged.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, brother.
And so, for instance, something that Screen Crush said the other day, he was talking about how people call her the Annihilator. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, this movie really should have been called The Annihilators, not The Marvels. And I was like, yes, it should have been.
And honestly, bro,
that literally would have gotten more people to come to the movie.
Monica Rambeau's character could have been shoehorned in Multiverse of Madness. Like literally, that would have been the perfect example to shoehorn her in there. It's like, I'm still trying to save Wanda. But they, like you said, man, they went away from the obvious and they went to these weird places where it just doesn't make any sense. Which makes me believe, I have no proof of this, that there were brain trust involved in this shit. It feels like this entire shit is disjointed. Like completely disjointed. And that's what I felt about this entire movie when I was watching it, man. Like,
yeah.
I do have to tell you, I enjoyed the part with the fucking cat. And they're like, do not run away from the Purgle. He's trying to help. That shit was so loud.
What did you think of the scene where they actually get the cats to eat all the people?
That's what I'm talking about. That shit was hilarious. I actually got all Mantis. I was texting during the movie. I was literally texting during the movie in the theater, and I was like, "Oh shit, this cat! All these little cats are eating people." Now, I want to ask you a question. The movie sucked. I saw it. You saw it. We all know it sucked, and it should bomb. It's sad that a movie like Black Adam, which I think is actually a good film, is now in the same realm as the Marvels.
It made way more than them, so.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, the theater I went to was packed, man. I gotta get you to this $10 theater where I live, man. It's not like that ghetto shit. The shit we went to wasn't ghetto. It was in the lower Manhattan, like 86th Street or that area, if I remember correctly. But I went there, man, and I'm starting to think there might be something wrong with us or children are stupid. The theater I was in was filled with families, packed, reserved seats. Barely got my seats for me and my son and myself. And the kids 13 and down were having a great time. Do you think that means anything, or
Like, what are you suggesting?
like they were having a good time? Their families, who may not be avid comic readers or MCU followers, were having a good time. People were laughing. People were talking to each other in the theater, not in a way that would disturb the film. They were having a good time, and I'm sitting there.
You think we're out of it because we're comic guys, but however,
No, not just comic guys, like with commentators.
The consensus is that it's doing bad.
Yeah,
people
sure.
are like the normies are reviewing it bad too.
What normies? Who are these normies?
Well, it's for instance, its cinema score is a B, right? And so you think, oh well, B isn't that bad. Indiana Jones got a B plus.
Oof.
So you got to admit that, like, they're saying it's worse than Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is really bad.
So why was everyone else in the theater? And this could be my singular experience, not my truth, my experience. Why were they all having so much fun? And I'm sitting there.
I've got a question.
Go for it.
Were they white people?
Yes, they were all.
There
white.
you go. There's your answer. They look at Brie Larson. They're like, this girl can do no wrong.
So
they're like, look, she befriended a black woman. She's an ally.
I gotta admit to you, man. Monica Rambeau is fucking fine, bro.
She friggin' is. And
when I say I gotta admit that, I'm only saying that in the context that I'm a married man and I'm very careful about.
So you want me to get with her? Is what
yeah,
you're saying. Yeah. No, I like Monica Rambeau. I will forever like Monica Rambeau. This was not the movie for her. This was not the adventure for her. A thing that I don't like is like. So she was very incompetent in using her powers in this one.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that I feel like they do that to women more than men. But honestly, we do not want to see superheroes be incompetent. We want them to have proficiency and be good crime fighters and all this shit. So really, since she got her powers in WandaVision, which was years ago, the next time we see her, she should be used to being a superhero.
Yeah, and Nick Fury should not be screaming out black girl magic to have her fly.
That was fucking horrible, man.
That was cringe. It was very cringe. I did love Kamala's family, though, man. I am not a Middle Eastern or Persian. No. you don't like them.
No. So here's what it is. I think I grew a hatred for them because of her miniseries. In her miniseries, they're the comic relief, and they're just constantly
okay, that makes sense.
Her, hovering around her, making stupid jokes. And so at the point that it got to this thing, I was like, I'm good.
Okay, then let's get to the good part here, man. So we had what could have been two post-credit scenes, but only one of them is actually a post-credit scene. So we have, spoiler alert, obviously, we have Kamala Khan at the end of the movie proper, finding Kate Bishop and officially acknowledging that they're going to do the Young Avengers, which I think will be the nail in the coffin.
Well, I love that Disney has officially announced. This is crazy. This is crazy. They don't learn their lessons and they're like totally in there. They're like officially their first ones are Cassie Lang and what's her face? Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel are the first official members of the Young Avengers. I'm like, 3 chicks?
Yeah.
They want more of this? They want to triple down on this? And then also a rumor is that, check this out, my man Patriot, that's the Black Captain America's grandson.
I know who he is. I know the rumor.
Oh, I'm saying for our people listening, the rumor is they're not going to use him, even though he appeared in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm like, Well, then what males are you gonna fucking have in this team? Because you need some male energy over here, right?
Even if you don't want to sell it as you need male energy, can we? This is the shit that pisses me off, man. Like, so let's look at the power set. According to the MCU, Miss Marvel is a mutant who has the ability to control light and energy in a way that is very similar to the Green Lantern, right?
Right.
Creating constructs. You have Kate Bishop, who is an archer. And then you have Cassie Lang, who is a combination of Ant-Man and the Wasp, as Ant-Man could shrink and he can grow large, and now he's got wings, and it's a woman. You know why the Young Avengers suck, man? Because that's when I'm just gonna say I'm gonna jump out the fucking window here, man. The Young Avengers were the first example, in my mind, of a socially acceptable commercial success of wokeness. And I'm not even gonna use the term wokeness,
Right.
just unnecessary pandering.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Because
So go for it.
the original comic was very LGBTQ plus, but also it was also like a lot of like people who were like they're outcasts and they're like the people don't understand us.
It was pandering. You know what's the difference between pandering and an appropriately written character? I think it was North Star that was gay in the Alpha Flight.
Yeah.
Now, let me choose my words carefully so you dumb motherfuckers in the back can hear me well. You know why no one gave a fuck about him being gay? Was because it was like, oh, North Star sleeps with guys, right? Whether you agree with that or not. It wasn't that it wasn't a huge part of his character. It was just like, literally, this is who he sleeps with. This is his preference.
Mhm.
And if he has a love interest and it's a guy that has nothing to do with him being a superhero, this is just the person he goes home to. Everything now has to be a social outcry up until the point. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
As
the
Matt
young-
said, lecturing. You're being lectured while you watch your comic book movie.
But you're not even being lectured to correctly. It's like the professor left and now the TA is lecturing to you. And I'm like, so at any rate, let's move on to the fucking joyful shit. Monica Rambeau and her fine ass gets stuck on the other side of a portal that she clearly could have been on the other side of.
Why did she only go to there's a lot of illogical moves in this movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of bullshit. But she gets sucked into an incursion, and I think that's another thing that Loki's going to help streamline. I hope it does. It's going to help streamline this whole fucking incursion thing, where it's like, okay, we got to do this or that, and she ends up in an alternate universe where there are X-Men. No big surprise there, right? We already saw Professor X and Multiverse of Madness, but now we're greeted by Kelsey Grammer's Beast and the CGI.
CGI. I didn't really love the CGI. Yeah. Here's the whole thing. If Deadpool's going to be part of this whole thing, and that would mean Colossus is also CGI, how many CGI characters are they going to have?
Superheroes. But here's the thing we got to understand.
We want to see real people in makeup, bro.
The best, you said you didn't say that when you saw Beast the first time. I remember your first reaction to him, and you were like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
No, I admit that, like, you're not MCU, but Fox Beast, the makeup was so bad that, like, it literally looked like Spirit Halloween Beast.
You
They got like a
I
blue.
envisioned you writing a letter, but not with a normal pen, but with a feather on it. That's how angry you are. You're like, damn. So we get Kelsey Grammer's Beast, right, in blue, and then we get Photon. So Photon is an interesting character because it's obviously interchangeable with Captain Marvel, but we get Photon.
Binary.
I'm sorry, binary.
Yeah.
Actually, I love that bit of acting between when she woke up and saw her mom. I was like,
right.
holy shit,
That was a good. And see, that's a thing. And, oh my god, another screen. We're gonna give all this props. I can't believe I give the props to this guy because sometimes I don't like this guy. But
what,
Screen
Screen
Crush.
Rant?
Yeah. Screen Crush.
Why?
He funniest joke and so true. he's in the middle of telling that movie, and then he goes, and unbeknownst to us, the actual story of her going back, killing the supreme intelligence on Hala, and it destroying their culture and all these things, and it destroying their planet, was never in a movie. And the dog goes, well, that sounds like it would be a better movie than this one. And I was like, absolutely, right? And so the drama is what we need in movies, not whatever this shit was. And so I agree with you. One of the best moments was when Maria Rambeau, Monica Rambeau sees her mom.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
That could be a movie in its own, right?
Her acting chops came out, man. She was so good in Handyman. It's outrageous. Like, anyway, moving right along. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that sentiment, man. And I also enjoyed her mom's acting in response to it. It's like, who are you? And then somehow, maybe because they're black people, it took me back to Wakanda Forever. Monica Rambeau, Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury. They should have been in Wakanda Forever, bro. Do you know that Samuel L. Jackson said, I need to be in this movie before I retired from the MCU? He's like, I'm going to Wakanda. And it seems so fucking obvious that he should have been in Wakanda Forever,
right,
as an American representative, and he wasn't.
Yeah, especially at the funerals.
Yeah,
absolutely. You could be like, I'm representing the Avengers. That movie was a failure in my opinion on multiple levels. But
I didn't agree with you in the beginning, but I have to concede and agree with you now. But
I think people were obsessed with the hype. I understand when people have love, but like, try to rewatch it.
It was a beautiful trailer rollout, man. You got to admit that trailer rollout.
The trailer was great, but the actual movie was
Kendrick Lamar, man. Do you remember when Black Panther concluded? The song it concluded on, the original movie, was a Kendrick Lamar song, and it was.
I still think that the first original Black Panther will go down in history as one of the greatest superhero movies ever.
Absolutely, it's right up there. So we get her waking up and she's in an X-Men universe. Now, a lot of people, here's where the debate comes in, Mantis, and I actually got a great take from a Screen Rant or Screen Crush or whomever, the guy with the dog, and I love you, bro. He doesn't think it's the X-Men universe from Wanda, from Fox. He doesn't think it's that one. He thinks it's from X-Men 97. And I was like, oh shit, this motherfucker's a fucking genius. I'm like, he fucking called that shit. He's like, you can't have Professor X show up again in this universe when we saw him get his neck snapped in Multiverse of Madness. And they're not going to scale back time for this shit.
Oh, Multiverse of Madness was, I think that was definitely the Fox universe.
What? I would agree with that. Yeah. I would agree with that. He thinks that since it's the most obvious answer, which means Disney is not going to go with it, they're getting ready to roll out X-Men 97, right? That's the name
the
of
cartoon. Yeah, the cartoon's coming out next year.
He thinks it's that universe. And I was like, oh man, if they do that, that would be fucking ingenious.
That would be good because that's the universe everyone likes.
Yeah.
For all the X-Men fans. Love it.
That would be fucking ingenious, man. What do you think about that, bro?
I never even thought about this. I would need to know. But it's true. Here's what I'm saying. I don't like the CGI that they gave the Beast, but his look is definitely way better than they've ever had the Beast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now that you mention it, you just kind of look like X-Men 97's Beast.
Yeah, 100%. And this is him and that damn dog. They're so clever. He was like, he's even wearing the same white jacket that Beast wore in that fucking show. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect, man. Otherwise,
you know what? You realize that what is the thing about X-Men? Here's what it is. I think Kevin Feige, deep down inside, I'm going to say it, I think he's a little bitch. I think he's scared. And so I'll give you an example. Originally, Phase 4 was supposed to end not with Wakanda Forever, but from Fantastic Four. But the reason he kept delaying, kept delaying, is because he didn't like the casting. He had to get perfect casting, like he's scared of casting them. It's the same thing with X-Men. It will make or break who he casts. Who is his Xavier? That will determine whether fans stick around or if they say, I'm out of here, man.
Well, so here's the thing, man. I agree with Screen Crush on this, man. the guy that played Xavier in Dark Phoenix, Days of Future Past, X-Men First Class, I'd be okay with him going with Xavier because Patrick Stewart, as much as I love Sir Patrick, him old, him very old. Right?
And as a matter of fact, the reason why they stopped Picard, the series, is because of old manitude happening to him.
Yeah, he's like, dude's like 87.
80s. Yeah, he's like in his 80s. Like, yeah, going on 90. Like, you can't have them doing shots. They're like, in this scene, it's gonna be raining, and we're gonna meet up at 4 a.m. to do this scene. Like, you gonna do that to an old man?
He's like, but it's 70, 60 degrees outside. My bones hurt.
His bones are brittle. And I love him. I love Patrick Stewart. Sir Patrick Stewart is an amazing man.
And actually, I thought his exit from comicdom film in Logan.
And he actually even said he loved his death in that. He really loved his death in that. James McAvoy, yes, is
James
the
McAvoy.
one.
Thank you so much, Matt. I think Logan might be, in my opinion, the best comic book movie ever made. It's not Spider-Man, so Mantis is going through conundrums right now.
No. You're saying the best? Come on, man. Come on, be reasonable.
The best. What's better than Logan? What's better than Logan?
The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight isn't that great. Heath Ledger is amazing in that movie. Heath Ledger is amazing.
No, it is, but here's what I'm saying. And you so we all remember Joe Biden, Captain America, right?
Joe Biden, yes.
So when Captain America gets aged, for our listeners who don't know what's
Joe Biden, he didn't even have the same resolve in his young life that old Captain America did.
Right. But old Captain America looked like Joe Biden, and he was old, and so people were like, "Oh my God, he turned into Joe Biden," which is hysterical, right? However, they should do the same treatment to James McAvoy and the dude who played Magneto, young Magneto. I would love to see them play. Just make Magneto's hair gray, give him a few wrinkles, maybe use CGI or makeup, whatever.
I'm here for it.
That would be friggin' amazing. That would be.
I'm calling it right now. Deadpool 3 is not coming out.
What?
Deadpool 3, Blade, Fantastic Four are all going to get shelved.
Deadpool 3 will never be shelved. You are a psychopath.
You said the exact same thing to me about Blade.
I probably did, but that was just blowing smoke up your ass, bro. In this case, I'm serious. This time, I'm serious. Before, it was all smoke.
You said that to me about Blade when I said that it wasn't gonna get released on its date.
I assumed you were a paranoid black man. Which you are, but you turned out to be true. You're actually, what's funny? You know what's even funnier? They shelve all sorts of shit. They fuck up all sorts of productions. It is crazy. They can't even write a fucking script for Blade. How fucking hard is this? He's a vampire hunting badass. That's all you need to know about him.
Because I think that at a certain point, we had a black man within the Marvel camp, a light skin, I would like to point out, who said, "Oh, when I hear someone say that they are a fan of the comics, that's a red flag for me." He was talking about inviting people onto the creative process.
Right.
All right. So to finish this all up, man. So she's in an X-Men universe, and that was a saving grace for this. Now, how does Marvel
definitely best part of the movie?
Best part of the movie. How does Marvel save the multiverse saga? Unfortunately, they are going to have to go Doom at this point, right?
Doom is one of their chief villains. Here's what I'm saying. They used, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't love what we've already seen, but they used Thanos too early.
Mm-hmm.
They took out their big gun
exactly
when they should have had littler ones up to. Because I would even say I love Doctor Doom. He's utterly amazing. He's not Thanos, but he's definitely. Here's what I'm saying: if there's anyone who has to come after Doctor Doom, after Thanos, why not be Doctor Doom?
So, go ahead.
But I would have rather them if they were gonna keep growing. There were several villains they should have done before.
There's so many different villains they could have done before Thanos or even Kang, but I agree 100% with what you're saying here, because here's the problem with introducing Doctor Doom at this point in the multiverse saga. The Incursion is the villain in the comic.
Right.
The incursions themselves, man.
But
It's
remember,
like,
we need Doctor Doom there to take advantage of everything that's happening.
I understand that. But the incursions, right? The setting, and this is going to prove you right on a lot of points. So this is me saying you're right, but fuck you at the same time. Jonathan Hickman's New Avengers, that entire run, Black Panther is literally chilling in Wakanda, talking to science students, the next generation of Wakandans, and a fucking parallel Earth appears above him, and then a black swan comes out. These are all the ingredients for a comic book to be bad, right? Usually at this point, I will close the pages, make sure I'm not reading an Image comic, right? and then move away from it. But as you read this entire arc, well, actually, the comic starts with Reed Richards saying everything dies. But the incursions are the issue, and they can't seem to land on the side of consistency. I would have rearranged this entire slate where everything would have started with WandaVision. I'm sorry, no, reverse that. Loki season 1, WandaVision, then Multiverse of Madness, right? Because at least those 3 properties are dealing with incursions, right? At least WandaVision acknowledges the Nexus event. I would not have released Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I would not have done Hawkeye. These shows are not relevant to a multiversal saga.
I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I'll say release it because I liked it.
You hated it. You were a ball of emotions. We were watching it together. You were literally... You did a whole hate video on the show.
I think it was probably an episode. I actually do like that series.
Okay.
You know what? You know what I mean? I will. Wait, hold on. I am checking that series though, because it does violate what I consider. And once again, I can't say canon because MCU's its own canon, but like, there's a bunch of shit that didn't make any sense, particularly with Zemo, particularly with Falcon.
I love Zemo. Love that.
And I want him to be real Zemo.
Right.
By the end of this, here's what I'm saying. By the end of this saga, by the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, he should have had a facial deformity, and he should have been exposed to the super soldier serum.
Okay.
As Falcon should have as well.
Copy that.
This makes no sense. Falcon's flying around with a shield, and he's going to try to be as good as Steve Rogers. He can't. He cannot physically do that.
No one can fly around with those wings unless they're Steve
What
Rogers.
I'm saying is, at least let him give the brother a serum. You know, like, what the fuck? Ugh.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like the incursions, the multiversal threat should be the big bad of this season.
I agree with you. In terms of like the writer's room, yes, I would say that to them and be like, This is the real deal. This is the real deal. However, I can't wait to watch Doctor Doom cash in on it.
The only way Benetton girl villain was what?
So what she says is that girl with the red hair, you know, the girl with the freckles and the red hair. She says she's from United Benetton, United Colors of Benetton.
Okay,
because she looks like one of their models or whatever.
I mean, she was wasted in this, and hey, RM, she was wasted in this, and she was also wasted in that Solo movie, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's my point, man. That's where I want to end right there, bro. It's like the multiverse saga should have been about the incursions, right? There are too many threats in this whole thing. So I'm worrying about Doctor Strange. I'm worrying about Wanda, Kang some days, and now I get, they're gonna try to make Kang a Beyonder. It's all nonsensical.
Yo, I heard about that content. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do Secret Wars, but like one of the Kangs is a Beyonder. I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking?
Why not just have the Beyonder come in?
Why not just
white man with the Jerry curl? I'm feeling threatened right out the bat. Like literally.
Yo, white men with Jerry curls, you cannot turn your back on these motherfuckers.
Picking that shit out in front of you.
But yo, we need Doctor Doom for both. Remember, both Secret Wars, Doctor Doom played a major role, and so we need him. And so,
But he was a background character. You didn't know he was a threat, and then you got to introduce the Molecule Man. Like it's
you don't have to introduce the Molecule Man. You could, I could, I'd be fine if they did something to
you
avoid
need the Molecule Man. You know what they need? They need Jonathan Hickman writing these.
I think you're obsessed with the Molecule Man.
You think I'm obsessed with Jonathan Hickman? You think I'm obsessed with the Molecule? People with obsessions can't fucking deviate from obsessions. That's the literal
Literally, the only thing you ever talk about is the Molecule Man.
No, that's the first time.
Like, yo, the other day, we went to this food truck. He just was chewing my ear off about the Molecule Man. Molecule Man this, Molecule Man that. It was fucking
And this
gross.
is, you're literally pulling a Donald Trump right now. You're making shit up.
Can you prove I'm making shit up? Do you have recordings of our hangouts? You don't.
It's a good thing I do. So allow me to play the footage in the video from the truck.
Shut up, Rachel Zegler.
So I forgot. Is Rachel Zegler the young lady from
The one who's trying to destroy our childhood by hating on Snow White? Yeah.
She got a movie coming out recently. She got a movie coming out soon.
Yeah, that's gonna bomb too. Yo, here's the problem that I have with her.
Right.
I despise her so much, but she is a good looking woman. She is fucking good looking.
Hold on for a second. Turn the camera on so I can judge you properly. I put her in the same camp as fucking Ariana Grande. She looks like a 12-year-old trying to look like a 20-year-old to me.
No, she doesn't.
There is nothing about her that looks like. Anyway, let me not body shame because someone's going to come in here. Well, 12-year-olds can be sexy too. And then that shit's going to get weird.
Yo, D says, I was disappointed to hear she was coming out in the Hunger Games. Yeah, I mean, we all hate her. I hate her too. And
bro, she's not. You like voluptuous women.
She's a beautiful face.
Does she?
She does. Yeah, she does. Rachel Zegler is very
I think
pretty
she's
girl.
a good-looking young man.
Rebeck says a fucking child bride. How do we even get on this? Okay, so guys, that's all the time we have for you folks. It's been a good one. I had a good time. This was a great episode.
It was a great episode. I love that you jumped ship as soon as someone agreed with me. It's like your Rachel Zegler looks like a fucking.
You know what? I'm not gonna die on the hill that is her. I got other fish to fry, but yo. So where can the people find you?
Yo, you can find me Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. for Throwback Spin with Steve on Autolus. And you can find me from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. for Throwback Spin with Steve late night, where the conversation gets more adult. So I just want to make sure I say something right now for any people who are a part of the original Adult Swim crew. I 100% just gave that moniker up for this show, right? But you're still Adult Swim crew people. I just say adult conversation, man. And you can find me there doing that. And, Mantis and I got some shit on the back burner in regards to conversation that matters and et cetera, et cetera.
A lot of amazing things are happening. We're not ready to reveal them, but, keep your ears and eyes peeled.
Wait, can I say one more thing about Rachel Zegler? You don't think that she has a big, grown person's head on a little person's body? She can't shop at Victoria's Secret. She's got to go to Victoria's nondescript secret, right?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Can I go get some sleep?
Wait, I want to make sure I land this. I feel like Rachel Zegler, if we all went to Old Navy, you and I would be shopping in the adult section, and she would have to keep walking to the back wall.
D says waiting for the Daily Wire. Snow White. Rebeck says she's cute. She's just got a big ass head. Bobblehead. I suppose. But
I'm sure her and Ariana Grande both get measured by the same person when they go to Six Flags. It's like, I want to believe you.
She's not as petite as Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande is beyond belief. Like she's crazy petite. I don't. Rachel Zegler is not.
I feel like Rachel Zegler is the type of woman to twerk, and we all have to remind her, like, hey, there's a reason people twerk.
Can I do my outro? Is that okay? Is that all right if I do my outro? Okay, you pervert.
No, I'm not the pervert.
No, you are the pervert because you won't get off this.
I'm trying to get America.
You're like that old pastor who's like, I judge this woman. I'm going to keep going on judging this woman. Meanwhile, we know.
No. See, that's the problem. I would never use the word woman to describe that little boy.
Okay, guys, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Check out the Fat Man. It's on Autolus. I'm on Hot 95 at 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays. And also, just check me out. I don't know, in life. I don't know. I'm around somewhere. Anyway, I've had a great time. Live the dream. Don't get caught at the Marvels. It's a piece of shit.
And definitely don't be at a Taylor Swift concert. Don't go see Hunger Games, because that's where people are getting registered for their next part of life.
You heard him here, folks. Anyway, we are out. This Fanboy Modeling School calling it a night. You guys have a good, beautiful one. Live the dream. Holler at your boy.